Eagles of Blue Meanie talk. Let's go.
Word.
Say less.
What's up, my family? Listen, first-time listener, or you've been here the whole damn time. Hit that like, hit that subscribe, giddy up, let's go, no notes.
That's my baby. That's my baby.
We're going at it at 110%.
I just want 5 minutes of happiness, please. Just give me 5 minutes.
And they scored! They did it!
What the hell was that? Oh, yeah!
What the f*** are you talking about?
What's going on, everybody? Special Friday edition here on A2D Radio. We're bringing one of our favorite guests back to talk Philadelphia Eagles football because it's that time of year. Really excited. I'm Chrome. I got the OGP over here, Pete Evans from Birds of a Feather, my colleague, co-host over there, and right down here. No introduction needed, but we're going to give him one anyway.
Guess what? I'm always
Brian Heffron, the Blue Meanie, who has joined us previously to discuss the Super Bowl. And now it's another big time for Eagles season. So, Brian, thanks for joining us, brother.
Well, hopefully I'm not the jinx on this one either. So
No.
No, thanks for having me. I'm glad you guys are here to carry me. I'm excited, man. It feels like Christmas morning. It feels like when I was a kid, every WrestleMania Friday would feel like a holiday. My grandma would give me a 3-day weekend for WrestleMania, but now it's Eagles. The Friday before Eagles Sunday feels like that holiday spirit. That's got me juiced.
Oh, I mean, you're spot on with that. I feel 1,000% the exact same way. And to me, it's. I don't think I became more of a football guy as I got older, right? I was a baseball guy, and it's one of those things where like, oh, my whole life I was this, I have to be this, right?
Yeah.
Football just more and more became the love of my sports life, and I agree with you. It feels there's just something special about opening. Like people say about baseball, and there's a truth to that, but there's something special about opening week of football.
Yeah. When
everybody gets out there and you just feel renewed. Like, even if you were a Browns fan all those years, I'm sure for one quarter in the year, you felt renewed. Like, this could be the year. But, yeah, no, it's very, very exciting. It is like Christmas morning, especially for everybody here at A2D Radio. Showing a little love real quick to Baggio's Bread, located Mount Laurel, New Jersey, home of the best stuffed breads, tomato pies, sandwiches, cutlets and meatballs, and if you let them know that the fam at A2D sent you, you're going to get 10% off in your of all your in-store purchases. So
nice.
Let Baggio's know we sent you. Go get them. I hear that the cutlets and the meatballs are. So go check them out. Baggio's Bread. So listen, we're going to talk about a lot of really fun things today in the next hour. We're going to talk. Obviously, we're going to preview the NFC East. We're going to preview this week's game. Who a certain gentleman may or may not be attending. Lucky man.
Lucky you.
Who that?
We're going to talk about the upcoming week. We're going to talk about some of what we believe are the key moves in the offseason that are going to pay off this year. And I'd like a couple bold takes in your Super Bowl picks. So if you got like one or two and you got a little time to think because it's the second half of the show, give us a bold take on a player or maybe a team one, or and I want to definitely go through that. But our topic to open, pretty simple. We haven't had divisionally. We haven't had a repeat winner in 20 plus years.
Right.
And we haven't been in a position.
18.
Is it 18?
2005.
Oh, wow.
I thought it was my bad. I thought it was 02.
I'm always missing a decade or two.
I know. No, not here.
Understandable.
Been hitting the head a lot. So.
But it's been a while since we've been to back-to-back conference championship games, and it seems like everything's teed up. So our Baggio's opening topic: the Philadelphia Eagles will win the NFC. Do we agree or do we disagree? And I think at this point we defer to our guest, Mr. Blue Meanie, Brian.
I agree. I think we will make it to the NFC Championship. I believe we will win the NFC Championship, not only because of the talent of this team, the coaching staff, which I think will do a fantastic job, but the fact is the NFC is wide open for the taking. It seems like everybody has gone over to the AFC. You know, Aaron Rodgers is out of the NFC right now. You know, you look at that AFC, and they're 8 teams deep, you know, between the Bills, Bengals, Chiefs, so on and so forth. So when it comes to the NFC, it's the Eagles and everybody else fighting for second place, in my opinion. It's hard to pick who would be the second runner-up, maybe the 49ers. But then again, I don't know if Brock Purdy's going to turn back into the pumpkin this year. And you know, he was the he was the Linsanity of last season, and he did fantastic. But you know, maybe there's enough film out there now that like everybody's had a full off season to figure them out. So we will see what happens, and we'll see, you know, halfway through their season if they're not going to their backup, because Brock Purdy has been figured out as Mr. Irrelevant.
Yeah, I think it's a fair point. I'm a Brock Purdy fan. I think he's better than people think. I think he showed it last year, and I'm not a world beater with college football, but
Me neither.
a lot of people will tell you who watched him. He said it's no surprise he probably shouldn't have been a Mr. Irrelevant. He's a guy that may have fell through the cracks, like a Tom Brady. I mean, in reality, it happens. We've seen it happen. So
Yeah.
The GOAT, a current GOAT, we'll see how that plays with Patrick Mahomes. But the other thing, too, you know, they went through 4 quarterbacks last year. Like, people think it was just the 2. You got to think.
The Eagles went through 2 of them, or 3 of them.
Yeah.
They beat 2 out and knocked 1 back in.
Yeah, it's crazy. So, you know, I agree to the poll. I think the Cowboys are up there as well. You know, to me, there's 3 dogs in the NFC. It's Eagles, 49ers, Cowboys. Everybody else has a lot of ground to make up. And I'm not saying nobody else could come out of the NFC, but, you know, we do our Tuesday show. And on our Tuesday show, Birds of a Feather, one of the interesting things that we had was we did standings, right? And then we went through the playoffs and we ranked like a rough ranking of where we think teams will be seated. Across the board, everybody had Eagles. And it's not because we're homers. It's not a homer thing. It's the situation that the Eagles are in the best position they may have ever been in terms of walking through the NFC. But it's the fact that, like, the AFC is a dogfight. Like, on the other side, none of us had the same number 1 seed in the AFC, and there's 5 of us on the show.
Right.
So it just shows you how wide open the AFC is. And I think that that's something that kind of recognizes an opportunity for the Eagles. So, I mean, I agree because I think they're better than the Cowboys. I know people talk about the defense, and I get it, and getting Stephon Gilmore is a huge move for them. But Dak Prescott is still the quarterback. Mike McCarthy is still the head coach, and we're going to dive into
Thankfully.
that. Yeah. And Jerry is still pulling the strings.
Right.
You know,
he pulled one with San Fran.
Trey Lance might be the quarterback by the end of the year. So
that's the reason why I'm not really looking at the Cowboys, because, you know, Dak's going to be out there looking over his shoulder. You know, I'll let you get back to your take, but I have to say this before it escapes my brain. I'll put the Detroit Lions over the Cowboys as the number 3 team.
Wow. And speaking of the Detroit Lions, what a time
I don't know where he's been
at. Comment, and he's going to love hearing that.
Yeah, you would have thought we called that in the ring there.
I was literally, that was not not intentional. I was clicking on that as you said. Let me throw this take in here. Wow. And Don is our resident Lions fan, so he's going to love that.
Yes.
Hey, the only reason why I didn't say I don't mean this as a slight. The reason why I didn't say the Lions, because they're so out of my peripheral that I don't know if they're NFC or AFC.
Yeah. It is a fair point.
Like the Browns, it's like, are they AFC? I don't know.
Right.
Where are they in? You know?
Yeah, you
might as well be in Alaska or Idaho.
Yeah. Somewhere in Montana.
I definitely agree to the poll. And I was wondering when we were going to come back to that. Don Good to see you again. We haven't seen you in a couple of weeks. It's
wow.
fitting that you show up
Hello,
after last night. It's fitting that you show up after last night because I was going to say, when are we going to put some respect on Detroit's name?
Well,
Like,
he had to commit. But listen, Don Don's one of our longtime frequent visitor or viewers, watches almost all of our shows on here, always contributes. Thank you for that.
Awesome.
Also, anybody out there, like, subscribe, follow, Facebook, YouTube, wherever you're at watching us. Make sure you guys jump in, get your comments into Meanie, to ourselves here, get your Eagles comments in. You want to talk about last night's game? We'll make sure we talk about it. So we appreciate your comments. But Don, good to have you back. It's been a while. We haven't seen him for like a month or two. So
yeah, it's been a while.
Back,
it's been a while, but no, I definitely
got a reason to come back now.
I just don't, especially in the East. For us, I think, and then Meanie, I think you can definitely attest to this, and Chrome as well. It's like for us, it's Super Bowl or bust. Like we need to be playing in late January at the Link, and then head into Vegas. And I mean, listen, I tried to go to the Super Bowl last year, it didn't work out. This year, if we go, I may have to make it happen, but I just don't see it. I can't even tell you. I had the Giants as the second best team in the division, so I think we're all pretty there on the Cowboys. It's like Dallas is going to Dallas at some point, right? You know, they're going to self-implode at some point. So for us, it's really just us handling our business, and I think we have the leader at the helm that's not going to let us falter. He's going to keep that he's locked in. Like, I don't know any leader who's been locked in like that outside of Brady. Obviously, I'm not putting him in that realm because he just doesn't have the accolades, but the mentality of no matter how good I feel I am or what my stats were last year, my belly is still empty. You know, he's like, you know what I mean? He's like me if I'm like haven't eaten in 36 hours or something like that. Like, I'm ready to ravish everything in sight. You know what I mean? So
you ain't going no 36 hours.
No, it's not happening. But no, it's definitely something where it's a weird feeling. And we talked about this on Tuesday, where I feel like from 2017 to 2018, we had guys who were not, I want to say over the hill, but already were established and they kind of hit their peak. You know, obviously Robinson, the nickel, that was probably the best pickup we had all season, where this team and how it's constructed is different, right? So this team is guys in their prime or getting to their prime, and we want to see that, and they're younger. So this is something where you're building a stronger foundation and you're hoping to win with that foundation. You know, so it's definitely a different construction, definitely a different feeling, but the NFL is an ecosystem at this point. It's the next greatest ecosystem, I will say, to Apple, because everything around it, like you said, Chrome, earlier, everything around it with week one, from not just what we're going to see on the field, but you see the promotion for now Sunday Ticket on YouTube TV, but fantasy's been around on newspapers. You know what I mean? We're talking 20, 30 years of fantasy football, and now you got DFS, and now you got active betting. So, and they're a sponsor with the NFL. So it's so many different things that surround the NFL, and you never feel like it's out of touch. And maybe you could speak to this. Like, remember 20 years ago, right?
Yes.
You felt like you actually had a true law, right? Where football kind of went away. But now with the media and the following behind football, it never feels like it's out of touch, right? Is it just me?
I was going to say, because when Chrome was talking about, baseball's opening season, it doesn't feel the same as football, because football and the NFL has the best media PR team ever, and they've spaced things out throughout the season to where just when you think you're in that twilight sleep, they wake you back up.
Mm-hmm.
Say, oh, there's still football. You're like, I'm about to go to sleep on the season. Oh, here comes the draft. Here comes free agency. You right before you go back to sleep on football, they wake you back up with something. Yeah. And there's always, it's that they have one of the best. It's Americana. It's the biggest thing in the sports world, because they have the best PR department, and they make football fun.
Right. And then honestly, to speak about the Americana portion of that, it's ours. Like, yes. You don't see this played in any other country. No. Like, to the level that it's here. It's different than baseball. Obviously, baseball is played worldwide. Soccer's played worldwide. Basketball now is a global sport.
Yeah.
Football, you can't duplicate this. They've tried, but that's really been American backing, trying to expand the game that they have. But no other country has really just picked it up from its own and made it successful, right? So it's our baby. It's our baby, So that's why I think the revenue is behind it. I wish it was a little bit more better in revenue sharing, but that's up to the CBA and the Players Union. Yeah. They need to do better for themselves, honestly. But I definitely agree with that.
Yeah, and I'm going to chime in on that too, because the one thing the NFL gets right, and we know this, right? The NFL and the NBA, the one thing they do the right way is they market their players as the faces of the league. The league is huge, right? And at the end of the day,
players are the commodities.
Yes.
yeah,
The
they
players
get it.
are their own business, but their business is a subsidiary of the NFL and the NBA.
Mhm.
So like whatever the player does outside of football reflects kindly on the sport of football. Yeah, go out, do a movie, go do a commercial, blah blah blah, because that's going to bring people back into the sport,
Right.
and follow the sport. So even if somebody just knows you from a commercial, it's everything equates back to pro wrestling to me. You want to get the uncommon viewer.
Mhm.
The hardcores are always going to be there. They're going to be watching every Sunday. You want to get that casual viewer that goes, "Oh, that Gronk in that commercial, I love him. He's so cute. Hey, maybe I'll give football a chance."
Right.
And then that person becomes invested in football through the person they see in the commercial.
Mhm.
And that's very smart marketing and making each player a commodity within the sport of football.
I agree, right? Like, MLB, you look at your two most marketable guys, first of all, are on a team in what's considered one of the major sports cities, not by me, but by some, in Los Angeles, on a team that nobody knows they're there. Literally, Shohei Ohtani might be the most tremendous star athlete in professional sports, in any sport combined. And there's a large segment of sports fans who don't know who he is.
Yep.
Because
Exactly.
the league doesn't market their stars right. And he's got an international appeal. And the league doesn't market their stars right. He's on a team that constantly stinks. It's just a really weird league. But the NFL nails it. Like, Jalen Hurts has become like the face of like young leadership. Patrick Mahomes has become the face of young leadership. Like, immediately, as soon as Jalen had that success last year, the league picked up on that right away. And then when you watch shows, every show became about what kind of a leader, his work ethic, started showing his squat videos to show, to market him as one of the hardest working guys you'll ever see in pro sports, which in turn brings people who want to bring their kids. Like, it's enticing not just to the guys our age or the women our age, but now it's like, this guy could be a figure for my child, right? So now you said, in terms of expanding your audience, like Brian was kind of talking about, and pulling in more casuals or uncommon viewers, we lost Meanie. He'll be back on.
Okay. No, that's absolutely, because you have to look at it, right, from a standpoint of you have a family of 4, mother, father, 2 children. Parents can connect. They buy jerseys, and then welcome back, sir.
I botched the just sitting here and listening part.
But then you have the mom and dad who buy jerseys, and then they feel comfortable. They can reflect with that. But then obviously when we look at our children, we want to have not so much role models, but if they're going to latch on to someone, that is going to be someone that's respectable. And then you have that for the kids as well. So like they market very well. And this is Jalen's doing it, and he's really not even any sponsor ads. Like with Mahomes, Brady, doing the Subway commercials, you could definitely tie into that. I don't know. I haven't eaten a Subway sub in like 5 years. I don't recommend other people to do so, but to each their own. But no, that's marketable. And Jalen's doing it just from a standpoint of just his speeches. I mean, you hear his speeches, you hear him talk. Like I'm just like, this dude makes me want to run. Like if so, meaning, like I'm a big wrestling fan too. I don't know if you noticed. So I'll just put proof into that real quick with my avatar. There you go. That's the of all time. But it's like if you had somebody like that in the locker room giving a speech before a big show, right? You know what I mean? So like that would inspire you to be your best, and I feel like that's what Jalen does. Jalen exudes that. And I think people connect with that in everything that he does, from the standpoint of whether it's his press conferences, whether it's a snippet that they have. He makes you feel like you can succeed at everything you do, right? If you try your hardest, you try your best. Because let's be honest, he didn't have the best skill set. He wasn't the most raw talented. He had to build to that, and he's still building to that. And even still now, some people still think that he's not at that level. Obviously, he's being paid like he is, but some people in their mind, he's still not on the level of a Herbert or a Burrow. Crazy Burrow news that contract dropped after kickoff.
Yeah.
Right, literally. As soon I think the ball was in the air, and I had the notification pop up. Like it was literally at kickoff.
Yes.
Like
that's crazy. I've never seen anything like that.
I never saw that either. It was crazy.
And I don't like it's almost like the Friday news dump, right? Like, why would you do that? I mean, that me just bringing it up, it just changed the whole conversation. But I'm not trying to derail it, but I've never seen anything like that. 5 years, 275. Why would you want to sweep that under the rug?
Well, it's kind of like right before the Super Bowl when they announced the Eagles Cardinals deal. They just did it in the low key. Hopefully, nobody makes too much of a stink about this.
Right.
The afternoon of the Super Bowl, that there was tampering.
Yeah,
between the Cardinals tampering with the Eagles. So yeah, it's weird. Like that their timing is impeccable to where it comes out, but you don't really notice it. So people are like, oh, when did that happen? Oh yeah, they announced it. They're not hiding it, but they're not doing their best to
yeah,
they weren't doing the best to promote the tampering thing. But with this thing, they knew all the eyes are on their phones,
right?
Because they're either gambling or
yes,
following the
setting lineups.
Yeah. Yep. So they know people's eyes are on their phones.
Right.
What better time than right at kickoff? Oh, did I win the coin toss? Burrow. Jeez.
Burrow,
Okay, cool.
The only time I can remember anything similar to that was Alex Rodriguez's extension being announced in the middle of the World Series. And people were like furious about that.
Yeah.
Like that was like people were up in arms that the Yankees, of course, the Yankees are trying to overshadow the start of the World Series by announcing an Alex Rodriguez move. Yeah. I mean, that's the only time I can remember anything even close to that. But obviously, this was received very differently, but because it's not the Yankees, right?
Yeah.
But that's another thing, right? Star League, like teams. There are teams that are assets. The Cowboys are the highest grossing professional sports team. However, the league doesn't market it. They market them, but they market it as a star league. The NBA does. MLB, it's the Yankees and Red Sox, the Cardinals and Cubs. It's rivalries. It's teams. It's not the superstars that are on there, and that's the difference. I think that's why they're so successful and why they're endearing, because you can connect with more people when you give them, lots of individual stories and things to connect to, as opposed to. The Yankees are the what's the Empire, the dark side, whatever.
The evil empire.
The evil empire. I'm not a Star Wars guy, but those kinds of things. So I want to dive back into Eagles, but I do before we do that. Oh wait, let me pop this up first here.
Yeah, we got a big one, a decent one.
Let's say John's one of our everyday listeners. We talk in the DM sometimes. Thank you, John, for your contribution. He says, Meanie, thanks for joining us again on A2D. This is saving me during my work day. My question is, on Sundays, can you be known as the Green Meanie? And against Buffalo and Miami, can you be the leader of the Kelly Green World Order?
Hey, absolutely. And thanks for watching. I think it was when the Patriots came to Philadelphia to play Eagles. I actually went and tailgated as the Green Meanie. I got the green stuff for my hair and stuff like that. And I don't know. It might make a comeback. I'm going to Foxborough this Sunday for the game. So I'm going to be busting out my Kelly Green Lane Johnson that I just grabbed down at the stadium store.
Okay.
So, I could be the leader of the Kelly Green World Order.
Oh, yeah. I love that. I've seen you with the green spray in before. It looks great. So, yes, he could 1,000% lead the charge into the game.
Blue makes green.
It does.
So, yellow and blue make green. So, blue is a part of green. So, there you go. It's in the family bloodline.
It's linear. It's linear.
We appreciate you, John. Thank you so much for
Thank you, John.
Buddy. Over here, this is one I wanted to ask about, too, because this was awkward. This was an awkward situation I felt last night. I'm just waiting for. I don't know why the comment's not popping right now.
So Chris Jones. So I think they showed him in the first quarter. He was with I'm assuming his agent and probably his manager.
Weird.
That rubbed me the wrong way.
You can't do that. You can't.
And I'm very pro player, but
You want to celebrate, then get on the field and put a uniform on. And listen, I'm not knocking him for what he's doing.
Right.
By holding out at this point.
Yeah.
But bro, you can't show up at the stadium and sit and watch your team.
Yes.
Like without your other buddy Travis Kelce, sit there and watch your team take it. They might honestly, by the start of the second half, I know the score was close. I felt like Kansas City took a drubbing compared to what Detroit struggled and scuffled a little bit in the second quarter after their first drive was meh. Detroit had a good 2 drives after that, and then they kind of scuffled until the second half started. But like you can't sit there with your agents.
Yep.
And everybody's talking about some McDonald's deal you just made.
Yep.
And you're gonna watch your team on banner night take a thumping. You can't do that.
What's more, I also put some blame on Kansas City as an organization. Like, how did you allow that to happen? Like, he should, if he's holding out, stay home. Like, stay home. If you're not
turn off his key card.
Yeah, like stay home. You shouldn't be permitted to come.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like in that capacity, if you're going to be in the stadium, if you're going to be at Arrowhead, we're updating our banner to show our 3rd Super Bowl championship. No, okay, you can watch from home. You can watch from home. If you want to participate. You know what I mean? Like participate in the fashion of what you're trying to get paid to do. You're not trying to be paid as a fan. Like you're paid to be a defensive lineman. Now, by all means, if at any time you have more leverage than after that Bosa deal, you have it. And you probably even got more leverage today than you had yesterday because now your team is 0-1. Right. And they ran the ball down your throat. The Lions almost did to them when they wanted to take control of the game what we did in the Super Bowl. You know what I mean? Because the Lions have a top 5 offensive line, and they just, we're not trying to be cute. Let's just run the ball. Well, Chris Jones is out there. It's a different story. You have to change the game plan, right? But I don't know, like, even as if I put myself in Chris Jones' shoes, why would I want to be there? I don't understand what was advantageous of that at all, from his perspective.
It's super weird.
And it makes me appreciate the bullet we're dodging with the Reddick deal.
Yes.
You know, with Reddick saying, he would he thinks he outplayed his contract, which he did. Yep. But he still showed up, he still practiced, and he still go for game 1. And that's another thing I think that's leading the Eagles' favor. There's really no drama as opposed to some of these other teams that have issues going into the season, the distractions going into the season.
There's too many professionals in that locker room. And there's just something about Jalen Hurts. And I know we say it every show ad nauseum, but it's not nauseating because it is so spot on. There's something magnetic about this kid that people relate, people respond, people want to follow. And it's not just players, it's fans, it's executives, like people. There's something about him. And I think that rubs off on guys who maybe are in that situation, like Hassan Reddick, who not thrilled with it, and you're right, Brian. He definitely outplayed that contract big time last year, right? Mm-hmm. And I think that he will get paid. But it's the overall picture that these guys seem to get in following their leader in the battle. Like they're not leaving their quarterback out high and dry, like Chris Jones decided to do last night.
Right. And does that say anything about Mahomes? Because sometimes I wish Mahomes was more vocal. I wish
he was funny, but
yeah. I wish he was more vocal as far as like, hey, like I need you guys, like. And then do you think people, like you said, you spoke about Mahomes, you said Brady's the GOAT right now, Chrome, right? You think somebody's sitting out on Brady's team?
Nope.
You see what I'm saying?
Yeah. Nope.
You know what I mean? Like Brady would get into you. Don says one more thing, guys. Was Casey missing Eric B because Andy replay call was questionable? No. I'm already on record saying this. Listen, I'm not the biggest Eric Bieniemy fan. But I'm a bigger fan of Eric Bieniemy versus Matt Nagy. I can tell you that in a heartbeat.
Yeah. Well,
Matt Nagy ain't it.
You can't, but you can't look at last night as a way to even.
That's true too, but
because Eric Bieniemy literally never had to call a play or scheme an offense in a game that did not have Travis Kelce. He never misses games.
Yes. So was that his first game he's ever missed in his career?
It's I think it was like since his rookie year or his second year I saw last night that he missed like 1 or 2 games from an injury. So essentially since his emergence, he has never missed a game. Yeah. And I
they
think
definitely need something. Like if he goes down for a while, he's way more of a bigger loss than Tyreek Hill was. And it goes to show, like, Andy, what they banked on, you can have guys at skill positions, but you need to have, like, you have to have a stuff. Like this team right now, if Kelsey misses significant time, you know what this team reminds me of 02, 03 Birds.
Mm-hmm.
When we lost to Tampa, when we lost to Carolina, you were good as a unit and you had one of the top 5 quarterbacks in the league at that time. And McNabb, obviously Mahomes is undeniably the best QB in the league, but you have no one else. So you need to take that next step. And Kelsey for them is their TO, right? In this situation. Yeah. So you lose that. What can you do? And you don't like that. It was one play last night. And Brian, if you don't know, Isaiah Pacheco's my cousin. So it's
really,
yes, he's my cousin.
Awesome.
He's my cousin through marriage. So there was a play where they ran an end around. It was like 2nd and 1 or 3rd and 1. It was right after Detroit scored the go-ahead touchdown. It was like 6 minutes left, and they tried to run an end around on 2nd and 1. Like get the first down. See, this is where Andy got cute, and he didn't need to get cute, you know. So I mean, it's week 1. It is what it is. But the whole Kansas City Chiefs kingdom had a different vibe. I almost had like a red wedding vibe from Game of Thrones or something like that. It was just weird. It was just so weird. It's hard to put it into words, but it was abnormal.
Yeah. Let me show a little love to our sponsors before, and then I want to move on to our Eagles preview. If this thing ever pops up, here we go. Oh, sorry.
You're doing a great job doing double duty today, sir.
First time, long time. First time ever. Thank you, Brian.
First time, no time.
I needed that. First time in no time. Baggio's Bread, located in Mount Laurel, New Jersey. They are the home of the best stuffed breads, tomato pies, sandwiches, cutlets, meatballs. And if you let them know A2D sent you in, you're going to get 10% off of your store purchases. So please go over there, show them love, grab some cutlets, take them home. I'm telling you, the food is phenomenal. Let them know we sent you. Get your 10% off at Baggio's Bread in Mount Laurel. Yeah, let's move on. Let's get to the Birds. I mean, last night there was plenty to talk about, and I had to bring up the Chris Jones thing. It was just really weird. But let's jump to division first. You know, we don't have to do the in-depth in and out. We've had shows all week that do that, but you know, I want to focus on who is your biggest competition. I think we're all going to probably if it's across the board the same, which I'm saying the Cowboys, then we don't even have to go around and say your biggest competition. We could just talk about what we're facing in terms of the Cowboys, some of the additions they've made, some of their concerns on the roster that I think we can make them better or worse than us. So are we all in agreement the Cowboys are the team that we have to look out for?
In the East or in the conference?
In the East. I'm talking East. I think Washington could surprise us.
The thing with Washington that I'm holding out on is they're under new ownership.
Yep.
And
but that's why I think they could surprise us, Brian.
Well, we see how this ownership does with the Sixers.
So the point I made the other day, right?
Yeah, he did make this point the other day.
Right? Josh Harris. First of all, you never question his intentions. The results aren't great, but
the guy can't even do a handshake.
That's a fair point. You got to remember, though, everything that Magic Johnson.
How do you fuck up a handshake?
It's so true.
It's handshake. It's literally commands in the name.
And shake.
And shake.
But everything Magic Johnson puts his hands on, though, whether he's shaking it or not, develops championships. Every team he's been involved with as an executive has won a championship. As a player, he's won multiple champions. The dude's a winner. And he's the X factor too. He's the X factor to me. You know, he's the anti-Michael Jordan ownership, where everything Jordan touches, like his greatness was as a player, and it's now he's paying the piper for all the sins he created as a player and can't win shit as an executive. Magic Johnson's the difference. And that's what scares me, is having his fingers, having his involvement in that organization. I can deal with Josh Harris. We see it all the time. But, man, Magic Johnson, dude, that dude just wins at every level and everything.
I'm still holding out. I'm still holding out.
And that's fair. And,
Yeah.
you know,
He can run a movie theater. Let's see if he can run a football team. You know, just to me,
It's just true.
which team has the least amount of drama? And I would say, well, the Eagles would be number one, maybe the Giants number two.
Giants.
Exactly. The Giants
are
the second most stable team in the division.
They got their quarterback back, or they got their running back on the field at least.
Right, he's on the field. Dallas, you just traded for Trey Lance
and told nobody.
And consulted nobody. Not even like, hey, I'm thinking about doing this thing. What do you think about this? How do you think he fits in the scheme? No, Skeletor just went and traded for him.
Jerry literally woke up and he's like, I saw like an ESPN like notification on his phone. And he's like, oh, they're trading Trey Lance. And he's like, I'll give you this. And they're like, okay. And he's like, great. Got that done.
Like he's playing Madden or something.
That's 97 screw job. Like all of
yeah.
Jerry went rogue, bro.
Probably why he's like getting his dependence changed. He's over there pulling off trades.
Yeah.
To bring it back to wrestling, Jerry Jones called up Jerry Briscoe and said, how can I screw him over in this situation here? Just trade for Trey Lance. But that's my Jerry.
That's a great Jerry voice.
Meanie, just trade for Dre. Jerry, just trade for Trey Lance. But Jerry Briscoe wouldn't help the Cowboys because he hates Texas. So
I believe.
Yeah, he was screwed over Dallas. But I mean, did you see the video over the summer of who was the cornerback that was on the
Trayvon
Cowboys?
Diggs.
He was clowning
Dak and had no help.
Dak,
no help.
Clowning Dak Prescott. What other team would you see that the quarterback's supposed to be the leader?
Yep. That
wouldn't happen on the Eagles.
Nope.
You do that on the Eagles and you're on the waiver wire or you're cut. You know, you do the takes that out on the Cowboys. That just shows me he has no respect in the locker room.
He does. It's very well said. Very well said.
Yeah. So to me, it would be Eagles 1, Giants 2, Cowboys 3. What? I'm still in Washington with the new ownership. I mean, maybe in a year or two, once they figure out. I mean, they've had one off season. Well, even they haven't had a full off season just to get their sea legs in the NFL and figure out what they want to do. They're going to have to eventually figure out what roster they want, figure out their own draft. You know, they're cleaning up the mess from the previous administration. Now they have to put their chess parts on the chessboard for them to compete. So this year, I think they'll be the fourth team just for the newness of the ownership. If Magic Johnson is as good as Chrome thinks, maybe in 2 years I'll give them, but we'll see.
I think they're close. I think they got a young quarterback.
Yep.
Who I think can play.
To my how?
Yeah.
Okay.
I think there's a little bit of a development there, but I think that he can develop to be, a really a good quarterback for them. It's just putting the right pieces around them, and obviously, they have a number one wide receiver. Also hired Rivera's replacement in Eric Bieniemy. That's fair. I just think that they're a team who's on the cusp of being with the other. Like, it wouldn't shock me if they're borderline. They won't make it if they are like a borderline wild card team, like finish 8th or 9th in the NFC, right? Just missing out. But the Cowboys, to me, it's Dak and it's Mike McCarthy, right? You had the highest scoring offense last year, and suddenly that's an issue.
How much of the? Sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off.
No, you're good. You're good.
People talk about Dak and his stats, and it's all empty calories. It's all in garbage time when most teams are just trying to run the ball and end the clock. He's going for stats because he's a he'll win you your fantasy league, but he'll get bounced in the first or second round every year. He is what he is. He's broken in. This is what he has been for the last 8 years. He ain't getting any better. The time you get better is your first, second year. Okay, then you grow from there. This is 8 years of Dak. This is the best he is. This is the best he's ever going to be, and that's why they went and got Trey Lance.
All right, they needed some upside. They needed somebody with some upside because you've seen it with Dak. But This is why I'm shocked Chrome still has them so high. Like, they have talent, don't get me wrong, but they have now probably the most volatile owner in the league now that Daniel Snyder's gone. Not from a standpoint of what he is off the field. I think he's a half decent person, even though he didn't want to own his daughter. You know what I mean? He disowned his daughter. She had to take her to court. But like, when you just look at the division, they're probably the most unstable at the top. That's why I give kudos to the Giants. The Giants with Dable, and I think it's the GM is Joe Shen or something like that, came from Buffalo. They have the same vision. They're on one page, and you have that thought process. And maybe they may not have the talent, but they have an outlook and an identity of what they want their team to be. And also, I'm not sold on Stephon Gilmore being the Stephon Gilmore from 5-6 years ago.
I'm with you on that.
Yeah, I mean, he's better than what they had, but Brandon Cooks is a headshot away from another concussion and being out the league. Hate to say it, but that just is what it is. So, you know what I mean? I'm not seeing this whole talent. I mean, you don't get me wrong, you got Michael Parsons, arguably the best defensive player in the league. But outside of that, Mozzie Smith, the first-round pick, has looked like the turnstile all preseason. You know what I mean? And they're counting on this guy to bring it forward. So that's why once again, it's our division to lose. I truly believe it's our conference to lose. So I'm just a little bit skewed when I say that. So sorry, guys.
And Mike, it looks like he still wants to be on the Eagles.
Yes.
He's always at Sixers games. He's trying to feel that vibe, and you don't get that vibe in Dallas.
No.
It's
hot, dry, hot air.
Yeah.
Mike is going to be the first $200 million defensive player. Easy.
It's going to happen. And in fairness, it's deserved.
Yes.
Cowboys have a lot of weapons, though. You see here, they have one of the better running backs in the game. I mean, essentially dethroned Zeke. And I think we could kind of see that coming a couple of years ago, where the talent he was there. They go out, they get Brandon Cooks, who is he like the new Sammy Watkins? Is that what it is? He's a burner down the field. Like, I get it. He's a good player, but like, to me, he's not like a huge barometer changer here. Like, he's not shifting the needle for me here. Right. I mean, he's a need they had, but like, I've seen him play as a non-factor on quite a few teams, and I almost feel like it's like the old Sammy Watkins effect, right? Where Sammy Watkins was a guy when he was with Buffalo, everybody wanted him because he had like 2 really, really big years. And I feel like that was kind of Cooks in New Orleans. Now he goes elsewhere, and he's like a contributor, but like, I feel like he's never the same, like, an impactful player, right? So I don't know. It's weird to me that people are so in on this, like, Brandon Cooks being a big difference maker. Maybe it is. But at the end of the day, too, if Dak's throwing picks deep, what are you going to do? I mean, I think he's the X factor in terms of this. And I think that, it depends on what the balance of run pass is going to be, because Mike McCarthy has stated that they're going to change that up. Is that going to affect how many points they're putting on the board? Because last year it's a passing league, and they did it way more often than most teams. But I'm kind of curious now. What is this offense going to be? What is the identity? Are they taking the ball out of Dak's hands? Because if they are, I question that.
I don't know if you can take it out of Dak's hands with Pollard. They did draft Deuce Vaughn.
But that's what it sounds like they're doing, Pete. Yeah. Like, that's what Mike McCarthy's saying. We need to run the football.
It's Mike McCarthy. Do you expect it to make sense? I mean, literally, like,
I know.
I think this is a make or break year for McCarthy, just because.
Oh yeah.
Their offensive coordinator went off to the Chargers.
Yep. Kellen Moore.
Yeah. He kind of sold him out, and he's like, "Oh, we need to do this." Well, you got your wish. You're calling the plays. Now it's on you. So if your way doesn't work, then what's the excuse? Then what are you going to call? Then what are you going to say? It's a make or break for McCarthy and Dak. I truly believe that this will be the last year we see this duo together. Mike McCarthy has a Super Bowl, but Aaron Rodgers was his quarterback.
Aaron Rodgers was the man.
I don't know if you guys will get this reference, but
okay.
Like, when I see Mike McCarthy, he reminds me of like the Disney character Pete, like Goofy.
Oh, from Goofy?
Pete.
Yeah.
He reminds me of just like watch him walk around like Pete with a fucking star in his head. And I find him to be one of the most infuriating head coaches of all time because he's so overrated.
Yep.
And I was a guy who gave him credit for a while, but now I'm like really seeing him outside of the Aaron Rodgers bubble, which wasn't even great when he was there towards the end of the tenure. Like, I don't love Aaron, but a lot of those things that Aaron kind of put out there or teased out there kind of make a lot of sense now in hindsight.
Yep.
But
so when Dallas got him as a coach, I was kind of happy.
Yeah. I mean, you're like, go, great sign.
Yeah, awesome. You know,
go from Jason, go from the clapper to him.
But I'm going to say this: as long as there's air and Jerry Jones lungs,
yes,
they will never find success in Dallas. He's been trying to recreate whatever Jimmy Johnson did.
Yep.
Jimmy Johnson is the reason why they have those three. Jimmy Johnson was so good. Barry Switzer won a Super Bowl.
Yes.
With his team. Yes.
With his team.
Yep.
Jimmy Johnson is going on Barry Switzer's Wikipedia and putting an asterisk next to that Super Bowl and putting Jimmy Johnson's team.
You read my mind. You read my mind, Brian. And I was like, because it's not so much Mike McCarthy or Dak. It's like you can replace all those are interchangeable. As long as Jerry is there, they'll never succeed. They'll never succeed. No coach, Peyton didn't want to go there because of Jerry.
Right.
You know what I mean? No coach that is worth anything is going to want to go there. Yeah, you could say Dan Quinn and all that, but Dan Quinn, once again, is a puppet. He had a 25-point lead in the Super Bowl and couldn't close the deal. Like, I don't know what else you can do.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? At that point, so I don't know.
Him and Shanahan.
Yeah. that you talk about another choke artist.
Yeah, he's captain NFC Championship losses, right?
Yeah.
So Birds.
Yes.
Are we winning the division? Are the Birds winning the division?
Yes.
Okay, so we're going to break the 18-year drought.
Yes.
The Eagles are going to repeat. It's across the board.
Mm-hmm.
Let's jump in because we're kind of short on time here. We got off on a tangent about Chris Jones being a weirdo in the stands, and that's totally fine. That's what Grit's great about this stuff. So let me ask. Let's say, what do you think is the biggest addition? And it could be through the draft. It could be somebody they brought in elsewise. What do you think is going to be the biggest addition to the 2023 Eagles that was not on the 2022 NFC Championship team?
For me, I think they won it through the draft. To get those three guys in the first round, was amazing. I got Carter, Smith. I'm blanking on the third, but
Ringo.
In the first round.
No. So they had 2 first-round picks. So Smith.
Oh, did we trade for Swift in the first round, or?
Yeah, you're thinking
we traded for Swift. Traded for Swift.
My bad. Well, he still counts as a ball, but
all night one draft moves, basically.
Yeah. Usually the year after you lose a Super Bowl, the carcass, the vultures come in and pick off the carcass and take your best players. And we lost a couple good guys, but we definitely replaced them. We go out and get Swift. I hate to see Sanders go, but we're paying for what we're paying. All of our running backs combined. Miles Sanders is being paid more than all of our running backs combined. So we have a good running back room. We have great receivers. The defense got a little bit stronger. And I'm going to jump ahead a little bit and say my star that's going to bust out this season is going to be Sidney Brown.
Nice.
I'm a Sidney Brown guy, man. Just watch that guy, and I think the defense feeds off of him. I think they see how hard he plays, and when they see Sidney Brown playing as hard as he plays, they go, man, I'm slacking. I gotta catch up to Sidney Brown. So I think our defense is going to be we're in a rare situation where our team got stronger after a Super Bowl, as opposed to when the vultures come in and take away key parts of our team.
Oh my God, I couldn't agree with you more on that name. By the way, I love the Sidney Brown name, and I think next to him another guy I expect to take a step forward. I think is going to be Reed Blankenship. I think that safety core where everybody's coming in and kind of downplaying and thinking that it could be a depth issue or an experience issue for the Eagles. I think the contrary. I think the athleticism back there. I thought Reed showed really good instincts at the safety position last year.
Yeah.
I think Sidney Brown is everything that you said and more. I really like the secondary of this football team. And, you hate to lose a Javon Hargraves, but for
Exactly.
the money he got at the age that he it would be appalling to bring him back at that.
Right.
Egregious. And then, you lose TJ Edwards, which was a tough loss. But, at the end of the day, they drafted so well. They went out and I love the Brad Penny. Jesus, baseball. I love the Rashad Penny side, right? And I'm looking at it where the thing about this running back core, and I'm including all four, Boston Scott, Kenny Gainwell. I'm not a Miles Sanders guy, by the way. I think he played for a contract. I thought he was hurt, and he talked way more than his contract, or way more than the results dictated. While
he could have won that Christmas game if he hadn't fumbled.
Right, it's fair. Right. It's fair. But I look at this team, and I look at the running back core, and it's so dynamic. There's so many different pieces to this running back core. Everybody does something different. Penny can pound the ball. Swift can catch the ball. He's kind of the Swiss Army knife. He can do a little bit of everything, as can Boston Scott. And I think that Kenny Gainwell is another really good hybrid back there, where they're going to come at you with different looks. You got your east-west cut runners. You're going to have your north and south guys that are just going to break through the hole. I love it. We just have to stay healthy. But having the Eagles changed the mold of the running back core. When they won the Super Bowl in 2017, they showed that you don't need one back. It's running back by committee and diversifying those backs to give different looks to the defense, so it's never the same. And everybody has done the same since. Everybody. It has become the fad of the NFL, which is why running backs aren't getting paid now. So
I want to see.
I love the name Sidney Brown.
I want to see Gainwell in the backfield and line up Swift as a receiver just to mess with people's heads.
Oh, here we go.
Who said this on Tuesday night, huh? Split back sets.
You don't need two back sets. I will die on that hill. Not to get in the argument.
Did you say that?
No, I said the same thing to him on Tuesday, and I had the same reaction.
You got to play mind games.
Got to.
Or in the words of Mike Tyson, skullduggery.
Well, why are we going to crowd the backfield and take room away from Jalen Hurts?
They did it. Detroit did it last night.
What?
Detroit did it last night.
I'm not talking about Detroit. I'm talking about
but I'm just saying it works.
I don't care what Detroit
but
did.
You can't run Jalen now that he's
Dolphins
being paid $200 million. You can't treat Jalen like he's on a rookie contract. You got to protect your investment.
Imagine you put two running backs in the backfield and still run Jalen just to mess with their heads.
Yeah, and then they start bumping into each other, and we got bumper.
Yeah, that's for them to figure out.
Give them another object to have to cut around, okay? Let's take field away from it. I'm done.
You get Quez off the field, take Quez off the field, put Swift in there, and then they go, oh, they're running. What are they doing?
Take Quez off the field and never put Quez back, you mean?
No way. I was being generous.
Yeah, I'd rather see Zacchaeus, to be honest.
I have a clock going off here. So, all right, let's jump in. Give me a hot take for the season, or a bold, I don't want to say hot take. Give me a bold prediction. It could be player related. It could be Eagles team related, but give me like a bold prediction for the Philadelphia Eagles season.
You first.
I'll give you a team, and I'll give you an individual. Team is I'll have a top 3 defense in the league. That's as a team. As a team. Individual, I think sneaky MVP candidate or sneaky offensive player of the year candidate would be Devontae Smith.
I
don't hate
that. The Eagles did me, weird last year. I was like, when they start winning, I was like, man, the only team that I could really see beating the Eagles was the Tennessee Titans. But then we lost to Washington and we destroyed the Titans. This season, I'm like, man, the only team I see, the only first loss I see is Kansas City. But now Kansas City is a little weird.
Mm-hmm.
I'm saying the only losses the Eagles suffer this year are the last 2 games of the season when they have to rest their starters.
So 15-2.
Yeah. Ooh, that's a bold prediction. So you think they're going to, until they have to sit.
Normally,
it's already locked up. You think the Eagles are going to win out until they lock up the division or the conference, number one.
There could be a game or two where, our mud buttons are puckered, but where we're a little tight and it took us going, oh man, they're going to blow this, and they pulled it at the end. But I believe in this, given that they're healthy all year, there's no injuries. I see them losing the last two because they rested the starters.
Yeah, see, I could have had them at 14-3. I do see 3 losses in there because they have a couple of back-to-back road stretches. But that being said, I have them winning 13 because I do think 100, without a shadow of a doubt, that last game against the Giants, I think they're going to bench people. And I think the Giants are going to be playing for a playoff spot. So I think they'll be playing their players, and I could see the Birds losing that game. But I like that prediction there. I like that. Mine is that Jalen Hurts will lead the NFC quarterbacks in passing yards.
Yeah.
So
yeah, my prediction feels a little bit cocky, but I believe in this team that much.
That's okay. There's nothing wrong with that. There's a difference between cockiness and belief.
Yeah.
Total difference in that. So give me a conference championship game, boys. And Pete, you could give yours. Maybe you changed it from the other day. Give me your conference.
I don't even remember what it was the other day.
From the NFC and the AFC, and then
Why you think about? I'll give mine. I think the conference championship game, Eagles, Lions.
Okay.
I think the Lions are going to be the team that ruffles a little, makes a little noise this year and actually gets into the playoffs, have some playoff wins. It's the NFC championship game, but the Eagles will be just a little bit better.
Yeah. Loving some of these bold takes in here, by the way.
That's just how it feels, man. Yeah.
What do you have for AFC, Brian?
AFC, Buffalo Bills in the Super Bowl. Number 2, they'll probably have to in the AFC. They'll have to face the Bengals.
Okay.
I love Buffalo as a city because I wrestled there so many times, and Buffalo's a lot like Philly.
I have a lot of family in Buffalo.
Yeah, we're like we're cousins. Philly and Buffalo are cousins, But I also love Cincinnati too. I like I like Burrow a lot. I started my career in Ohio, so I have a little bit of a thing for Ohio too. But it'll be Bengals, Bills, AFC Championship game with the Bills winning.
Okay, I'm gonna go Eagles, Lions as well. I think that's what my pick was 2 days ago, if I'm not mistaken.
I think it was.
And then Chiefs don't even make it to the conference championship. I'm going Dolphins, Bengals. Dolphins going over.
You got
Dolphins. People are sleeping on the Dolphins too, but
speed, man.
Not this guy.
He's a Dolphins fan, by the way.
They're my AFC team that I like. I grew up in Marino.
Is that not the true definition of a fan, sir?
I am a supporter.
Sir, answer the damn question.
It's like the Phillies, right? I'm not a Phillies fan, but I support them. Like, if my team doesn't win, I want my friends to enjoy a championship. But if I play you like in 2011, things suck.
Tua should just go over to the Monster Factory in Paulsboro and learn how to fall without banging your head.
Let's go.
I'll teach him how to fall the correct way so he can protect his head.
For me, I have AFC, I have Dolphins, and I don't remember who the other team I picked. I think I was kind of wishy-washy on that.
I think you were either Ravens or Bengals. You may have had the Chiefs, I think.
I would like to change that because I've been thinking a lot and just looking over. I really like the Ravens this year. Oh, no. I had Jacksonville. And I
like Jacksonville, too.
Because I think it's going to be out of those 3 teams. I'm looking at – I think it's going to be Dolphins, Jacksonville, and the Ravens are going to be some iteration of that. I'm going to stick with Jacksonville because I really like that team. But I'm riding the Dolphins to the Super Bowl. On the NFC side, I have Eagles Cowboys. Let's go. And
that's distractions on the Cowboys side.
It's like we have here, like Marsh said, that would break television records. It absolutely would break
It
television.
would. It'd be great for business, but
yeah. But I'm gonna say Birds over the Dolphins in the Super Bowl. Birds get it done.
Okay.
You just made Crone so happy
with the Dolphins take.
Absolutely. Listen.
Hey, if we had the Eagles Dolphins Super Bowl, we could call it the Ace Ventura Bowl.
Oh my! Oh, that would be phenomenal. They have to have.
Yeah, we'll have Snowflake on a.
They have to make Jim Carrey like an honorary captain who like presents the the coin to the ref, right? Like
in character. In character. And him and Swoop have to. I'll choreograph the match between him and Swoop.
Yeah.
You know?
That Seabird fan says Tua can't bump.
Nah. I got to tuck your chin.
Oh, man. Listen, Brian, this was a lot of fun.
Yes.
Oh, thank you.
You guys heard it. Oh, you didn't give us your actual Super Bowl winner.
Oh, Eagles.
Okay.
Eagles. Yeah.
So
The Eagles would have won last year. It was just one ticky-tack call and one.
Dude, I said it. I think I said it on Tuesday. I said that game, if you go back and watch the last 20 years, the 3 Super Bowls that we were in, last year is the hardest one to rewatch because of how controlled they were in that game.
Yeah. They did everything they could to keep Mahomes off the field. And, and the punt return. Oh, my God.
Our special teams is booty cheeks.
Yeah. Take away that punt return. You know, they could have went for it on that 4th down, maybe. You know, instead of punting it.
Better field conditions, maybe.
Of course, hindsight's 2020. You know, everybody's probably perfect vision. The ball ended back up where it was where they punted it anyway. So they should might as well just went for it on that 4th down.
Oh, God, yeah.
That's the benefit of hindsight.
Yep.
So I don't want Justin to think we forgot his comment, but listen, we're going to have Meanie back. Maybe a couple times through the year as the season goes on. We'll have him back maybe once a month or whatever his availability is. And we'll talk some birds. We'll do, Meanie on the birds or something like that. We'll come up with a name for it.
Yeah.
But
the mob. I like it. M-O-B.
I love that. But next time we'll see. Maybe you could share us a Stevie Richards story here.
Stevie Richards, also a Philadelphia Eagles fan. I'll have to say this. 2/3 of the BWO were Eagles fans. And 1/3 was a Cowboys fan.
Oh, wow.
No.
I knew I didn't like Nova for a reason.
Yeah, that's why he had that's why he had the star on his face. Nothing worse than a Jersey Cowboy fan. I love them. Like family, but I'm not mad. I'm just disappointed.
It's a disappointment, right? You just can't.
Disappointed.
Yeah, something went wrong somewhere. They went off the rails, but
yeah, I'll definitely come back. But in the meantime, also I have a podcast called Mind of the Meanie, which drops every Monday. Absolutely. If you'd be kind enough to check that out. We talk a little bit about wrestling, music, movie, sports, and tons of useless knowledge. And also, if you'd like to support the Blue Meanie, go to prowrestlingtees.com/Blue Meanie. Get yourself a BWO shirt.
And hey, by the way, too, if you guys are wrestling fans, get out there. Meanie shows up at the Icons conventions quite often. He goes to a lot of the events.
October 28th at the ECW Arena. And there's I haven't announced it yet, but it looks like I'm going to be hosting Eagles viewing parties at the 2300 Arena this season. So
love that.
Former ECW Arena. So still in talks. We have a week to figure it out before the season 1 home opener. I'll be doing the home games. We'll see. But in the meantime, support Mind of the Meanie, prowrestlingtees.com. And hopefully, the Eagles get another one of these. Super Bowl.
Yeah, which, by the way, listen, I saw the ones that WWE dropped on their website. Your title belt, it's okay. It's very like what you would expect them to drop. Right. Your title belt there is 1,000 times better. So, yes, you definitely.
My wife will hate it, but I will love it.
Yeah, listen, check out the podcast. It's phenomenal. It's really great. If you get a chance to go meet Brian at any of these events, please go check him out. And keep us posted on the 2300 thing, because that's great. I know I would definitely show up for that.
Yeah.
And also stay tuned for A2D stuff. Bird season coming up. We're going to try to do some on-site. Potentially, we're tossing around the idea of doing some on-site pre-game shows.
Nice.
So we'll see if we open that up. So if you do it, if you are a business out there, or you know someone who runs a business and is looking to dabble into that, let us know. Listen, great show here. Appreciate you. And shout out to Baggio's as well. Mount Laurel. Make sure you let them know we sent you and you get your 10% off. Get the cutlets, get the meatballs. That's my personal suggestion. But yeah. The season is here, boys. Brian.
It's Christmas morning.
Pete, Sunday. You have a safe trip, by the way, getting up to New England. Have a great time up there. Show all those.
I'll be in section 120.
Okay.
Or 121, something like that.
If anybody's going to be around there, look for Meanie.
The loud, obnoxious guy that the boom mic's picking up will be me.
with the green hair.
Yeah. Well, we'll see.
But listen,
I'll definitely have the Kelly Green on.
Nice.
Yeah, you did tell me you were gonna have Kelly Green, so look for Meanie and Kelly Green if you're gonna be out there in Foxborough on Sunday, 4:25 start. It's here, guys. So go Birds for myself, for Pete, for Blue Meanie, Brian Heffron down here. It's that time of year, guys. Show someone you love them, give them a hug.
Absolutely.
Tell everybody how you feel, and have a great week. Fly, Eagles, fly.
Go Birds.
Go Birds.